what in your journey led you to investigate these issues?
Curiosity. I'm quite a curious person. So like I said, I was born and raised in the UK from a Nigerian household. I wasn't really interested in the religion although I went to a mosque for a number of years. When probably my late teens, early 20s, a friend of mine passed away, and I started to really think more about, I need to understand who God is, like what's going to happen next after, when I pass away. So that's why I wanted to really learn if Islam is the truth, because I had a lot of doubts. I read about Christianity. Half of my family from my mother's side are Christian, and one of my aunts used to always say, you should become a Christian and this, that, and the other. But I never was comfortable with the idea of worshipping a man. So even when I used to go to a church, there's a girl that I was dating at the time who was Christian as well. But that was the only thing I was never comfortable with, just the idea of worshipping a man. But growing up in a mosque, if I'm completely honest with you, I didn't feel connected because I'm studying or reading a text I don't understand. I'm getting beaten for not memorizing something, and the treatment I'm receiving in the mosque is very different from my state schooling. So the experience in the mosque, I don't warm to want to practice Islam, if I'm completely honest with you. But when I started, again, like I said, my late teens, early 20s, even though I still was Muslim, but not really conscious of the deen. I would read the Quran, and when I was reading the Quran for myself and in the English, it was more intrigued and wanted to know more. And I would listen to Islamic lectures, and it was always like a burning desire. I want to understand the Quran. I want to understand what Allah is saying. I don't want to understand it via a speaker or who's given their interpretation. And that led me to study Arabic. Then I went abroad to Egypt. And then when I was studying in Al-Azhar, I came across a number of sex manuals written by Muslim scholars. And they were selling them in the street as well, sex manuals by classical scholars like Al-Kindi, As-Suyuti, who I mentioned earlier. And I was surprised that I've heard of As-Suyuti, and a number of these books have been translated into English. But one of this compilation, it was called The Secrets of Intimacy and Women's Pleasure. And I was thinking, okay, this is, I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. I was like, okay, this is more what I'm interested in. But I was always curious why is it, I wasn't taught this when I was in the UK. They don't talk about this. Everything was very hush hush. You don't talk about these matters, and they're speaking very explicitly. They had sexual humor. There's jokes, but they're speaking about real issues. It wasn't just instruction manuals. Do this, do that. It was just talking about issues that they were facing and how they were advising people to overcome these issues. And they were citing sources from the Kama Sutra, from ancient Greek philosophers. So I was like, okay, these are people that are well ahead of their time. They wasn't just yes, they're talking about the Quran and the Sunnah, but they're also making use of other knowledge of their time and seeing, okay, from an Islamic perspective,